and you're very welcome back to Parnell Park. The build-up in full swing here ahead of the opening game in Group 3 of the go-ahead Dublin Senior Hurling Championship. And no doubt about it, this very much the match of the day and the match of the weekend. It is the reigning county champions Cuala up against Kilmacud Crokes, one of the leading contenders to their throne here in Dublin over the 2021 season, you would imagine. And the atmosphere building nicely. The Cuala and Kilmacud Crokes supporters still making their way in through the turnstiles as the countdown to the 6 o'clock throw-in continues. And our referee Sean McCarthy and his officials present and correct as well, just making sure everything is in order. We've already seen an upset here at Parnell Park this evening. St Jude's beating St Vincent's in the first of our two games. Danny Sutcliffe delivering a man of the match performance, shooting 11 points from open play and frees, and no doubt who left Parnell Park the happier here just a short while ago. St Jude's off to a flying start in Group 2, and St Vincent's already with a little bit of catching up to do. But we'll take a check on the teams now. Owen O'Donnell is alongside me on co-commentary. We'll get Owen's thoughts in just a moment. But there's the way Cuala line out. And the first thing that strikes you when you look at that team sheet, of course, is the absence of so many familiar names. Con O'Callaghan not included in the matchday squad. His brother Cian absent also due to a hamstring injury. Mark Shude unavailable after having a shoulder operation during the summer. And Colm Cronin as well, such an integral part of their recent county championship winning teams. He's also unavailable this season, travelling in Australia at the moment. So it is to a certain degree an understrength Cuala side that line up against Kilmacud Crokes. There is the Kilmacud Crokes matchday squad. Again, no shortage of familiar names. Fergal Whiteley and Oisin O'Rourke, both of course part of the Dublin senior panel, along with full forward Ronan Hayes during the season that has just ended. And keep an eye out as well for Lorcan McMullen, their very highly rated number 13, who also has inter-county experience, having hurled with County Down in the not too distant past. So Owen, we've already been treated to a really good game, a contest that went all the way to the wire, and I get the impression, chatting to you off here, you're expecting nothing less from our second game.
Absolutely. We're hoping for a continuation on from this afternoon. Two of the big hitters here in Dublin facing off, and every year is a cracker performance. I suppose what you alluded to is the Keane, obviously with the hamstring he just picked up at the end of the year and needs to get right, and the word is Con is taking some well-deserved time off to get his body right. It's been a long run for him, so some well-deserved time off, and hopefully he'll join in at a later stage. Looking at the two team sheets and the matchups, it's a couple of interesting battles ahead. That Ronan Hayes, obviously a standout performer for us playing for Dublin this year. Ross Tierney at the Cuala fullback will have his hands full. And interestingly enough, Fergal Whiteley lining out at number 7. Whether he actually starts there is remains to be seen, but an interesting choice at wing back, but should be in line for a cracking game.
Well, coming into this game, Cuala have been installed as favourites, as you would expect. They are aiming to win 3 in a row of county titles this year. They've already won 5 of the last 6 county championships here in Dublin, so they remain the team to beat. But if they're ever going to be caught, or if they're ever going to be vulnerable, Owen, you'd imagine this evening. It's the first round, everybody starting more or less from the same level, and to be missing the likes of the O'Callaghan's and Mark Shude and Colm Cronin as well. On paper they look vulnerable, but of course going out and beating them is another thing entirely. Do you like the look of this Kilmacud Crokes team? Do you think they've got enough this evening perhaps to cause an upset?
I absolutely do like the look of them, and they, even on the bench they have firepower. Really looking forward to seeing Dara Purcell. Was a class act for the under-20s this year, played corner forward and was one of their standout players. Still a very young player. Surprised not to see him in from the start. Well, we'll see if there's any changes now, but surprised I can see him as he's walking out. He's in corner forward, and he's marking Michael Conroy, who he'd know well from the under-20 campaign. So a couple of nice matchups in the making here.
Well, by the looks of things, the match programme not worth the paper it's written on to a certain degree. You can see in the centre of your picture there, Cuala have made a couple of changes as well. I see Andy Power and Killian Shannon, they're both going to start for Cuala. And also, as Owen mentioned, Dara Purcell starts for Kilmacud Crokes. Just looking around the field to see if anybody else has joined the party late. It looks like everyone else that should be there is there, as our referee Sean McCarthy from St. Vincent's gets us underway. It will be Kilmacud Crokes playing from left to right. Here's an early chance for Alex Considine, and that shot flies across the face of goal and wide. Cuala wearing their traditional colours as well, red with the white trim, as the Kilmacud Crokes goalkeeper Eddie Gibbons fires this first one right down into the heart of the Cuala defence, over the head of Sean Moran. Racing back to try and get onto it there was Niall Carthy, cleared away by Kilmacud and by Lorcan McMullen, who's dropped deep. Dara Purcell, as Kilmacud Crokes try to link the play and work their way through the lines. That was a big hit on Dara Purcell, but he managed to ride the challenge, feeds it through towards Ronan Hayes, the target man, but it was a heavy challenge. Referee was playing a slight advantage. Now he's going to bring it back, but already, just looking down at the field, Owen, so many players between the 265s, that battleground, the battle lines being drawn already.
Quick start to the game, absolutely, and it's going to be the story of the day, I'd say, is going to be a lot of tackle, a lot of intensity. Both teams are going to try to get turnovers, bring massive energy to it. Ronan Hayes is a top quality free taker as well, so both teams would want to watch their free count and try to keep it down. And as we're looking out, I can see just as changes all over the pitch. Bill O'Carroll is lining out centre back. Darragh O'Connell was in full forward at one stage, and they're just moving all over the place now.
Well, that free has been missed by Ronan Hayes. Just with the stoppage in play there, it gave us a chance to look around the field. And I see Owen O'Callaghan, brother of Con and Keane. He started for Cuala as well, wearing number 20. So the Cuala manager, John Toomey, and his coach, Eddie Brennan, bringing a few late changes just to keep us on our toes. And Kilmacud Crokes as well, as Keane McGowan for Kilmacud Crokes, the centre back, gets on the ball, tries to send his team heading in the right direction. Covering back is John Shannon, out to Dara O'Connell. And here's the Cuala goalkeeper, Sean Brennan, understudy to Alan Nolan in the Dublin panel earlier this season. Driving a long ball in, a testing delivery. Falls kindly for Liam Murphy. And Liam Murphy, member of the Dublin under-20 team last season, has the simple task of hitting the opening score in the 3rd minute.
Yeah, simple in the end, but did very well to win it and ride out the free and put it over the bar, so he'll be delighted with that start.
So a good positive start from the county champions as Kilmacud Crokes try to make something happen. Davy Crowe, wearing 19, has also started for them. It was always likely to happen. Teams named for the match programme, so much at stake in this game. Everybody wants to get off to the perfect start, to the winning start. So late changes, I suppose, all part and parcel of senior championship at this level, at this stage of the season.
And probably a few last minute fitness tests and seeing who's available. It's been a difficult year for clubs with COVID and stalls and trying to get lads together and regulations and all the rest. So just I think that the whole county is delighted just to be here and have everything started again.
So much history as well, of course, between these two clubs. Met in the county finals of 2016 and 2017. Cuala coming out on top on both occasions, and they really are right now as a club, as a senior hurling team, at the peak of their powers. 5 of the last 6 county titles, 2 All-Irelands in there as well for good measure.
Very interestingly, Sean Moran is playing full forward for Cuala at the moment, being picked up by Darragh Butler, and that's an interesting one. I know he ventured in there the odd time last year for Cuala, but it's obviously something they're persisting with.
Lovely ball from Dara Purcell to Fergal Whiteley, and that was beautifully done by Kilmacud Crokes, and Fergal Whiteley levels the game in the 5th minute.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's very difficult from up here to see who's playing where, because everyone has just crowded into the middle, and there's very little players between or inside each 45. They're just all in the middle of the pitch.
Here's Niall Carthy wearing 11, but as Owen mentioned, he's moved to the wing. Nice short pass, and the man who came through the middle, steaming through there to shorten the grip and hit the lead score for Cuala. Well, that was their number 9. That's Sean Tracy. brother of David, the Cuala number 13. So Sean Tracy leaving Cuala 2 points to 1 ahead, but how long will that lead last? Davy Crowe, Dara Purcell steadies, shoots, and back off the post, unlucky. Kilmacud Crokes denied an equaliser as Cuala go long, looking to mix it up a little. Ball is well controlled there by Sean Moran. Struggled to get a starting place for Dublin during the championship, but he is a key man in this Cuala team. He's just been chopped across in fouls. Don't forget, if you want to get in touch with us this evening, if you want to tell us what you think, maybe you've got a question for Owen O'Donnell, use the hashtag GoAheadDSHA. You're watching the Go Ahead Dublin Senior Hurling Championship here on Dubs TV. It's the opening weekend of the 2021 campaign, and Cuala, the county champions, looking to extend their lead. That is their tried and trusted free taker, David Tracy. Lovely, neat and tidy style. That's his first, and Cuala lead by 2.
Yeah, and having someone in your team like that that's just going to score 9 out of 10 frees plus is just such a value to a team that we saw in the game earlier. That free taking is an essential part of the game, and you need to be nailing them. So David Tracy starting as he means to go on there.
Sean McCarthy gives the decision Kilmacud Crokes way. The other teams in Group 3, by the way, are St. Bridget's and Thomas Davis. So nothing easy about this particular group of the Go Ahead Dublin Senior Hurling Championship. St. Bridget's on many people's shortlist as well to be in the mix when county final time rolls around. One other game taking place at the same time right now this evening in the Senior Championship is Ballantyre St. John's against Crave Kieran. We'll keep you updated on how that game is progressing. Fogs beat Scully Connell earlier, 122 to 8 points. That was a very straightforward win for them. Back here at Parnell Park, Ronan Hayes has just missed his second free. He's 0 from 2.
No, and it's worth mentioning that there must be a strong swirling wind, that both teams in the match this afternoon had trouble shooting into it, and there's a lot of wides, and the same pattern seems to be emerging here early on.
Certainly the scoring goal is at the dressing room end of Parnell Park, going on the evidence of the first game, as Kilmacud Crokes tried to engineer some sort of an opening, but that ball was misdirected, and it's now in the hand of Colm Shannon. Both Shannon brothers have hurled with Cavan, and continue to hurl with Cavan, in fact, as referee plays an advantage. The shot from Caelan Conway, well, it's not going to count, I think. Sean McCarthy is going to bring it back for the free.
I think Cuala might be hard done by there. I think it was over in the end, and that score had it all. It had the skillful touch, the shoulder, dropped his man and put it over. But Sean is bringing it back for a free for Ronan Hayes. It might be a slightly easier one, but that's the theme of this game, is just this class all over the pitch wherever you look. That it's just a star-studded game, and an interesting matchup is Oisin O'Rourke is in the corner, Mark and Owen O'Callaghan, and as you said, comes from good pedigree, so that'll be a good intense battle in there.
Well, the Kilmacud Crokes manager Kieran Dowling has certainly moved a lot of pieces on the chessboard. As Owen mentioned, Oisin O'Rourke wearing 8 is in at corner forward as Ronan Hayes finally gets his eye in at the third attempt. He converts his first free. Caelan Conway unfortunately denied a pretty spectacular score as the referee brought it back, but all's well that ends well for Kilmacud Crokes. Cuala's lead back to 1. Here is Ronan Hayes. He's got such a great left hand. Spins away from the defender. Hayes bearing down on goal. Still going. Oh, what a goal by Ronan Hayes. Well, he made it and he finished it.
What a goal. You won't see a better goal in any county championship at all across the country. He has this unbelievable skillful turn that he's nearly turning as he collects the ball, and just straight through the middle, lots of pace, and then the skill and composure just to flick it by Sean Brennan.
Well, the skill, the pace, the power and the precision of the finish, and no better man than Owen O'Donnell alongside me to offer a running commentary on that score. I'm sure many's the time in Dublin training you've knocked lumps out of each other.
I've been on the receiving end of that one, so don't feel too bad to Cuala defence.
So, first blood in terms of goals to Kilmacud Crokes, and they lead 1-2 to 3 points after just over 9 minutes here at Parnell Park, and that's the sort of score that blows the game wide open and almost asks the first question of Cuala.
Yeah, and the question I'd ask of Cuala is that Darragh O'Connell is sitting back as a sweeper there, and obviously to stop being ran out like that. So, it's when you're sacrificing one of your forwards to shore up the defence, you need to be cutting out them long running passages like that a team as established as Cuala need to be cutting them out.
John Shannon, by the way, is at full back marking Ronan Hayes. This is a very long range free from David Tracy, and the same result, 2 from 2, the Cuala free taker. It's back to a 1-point game. Kilmacud Crokes have taken the puck out short to Davy Crowe. Tries to service the half-forward line. Ball breaks to Dara Purcell. He's got so much pace. Outside and available is Whiteley. Gets it out through the back door. That's Caelan Conway, and that is point number 3 for Kilmacud Crokes. Well, he was denied his first score by a refereeing decision. No denying that one.
No, and Dara Purcell was the man that made it there. And do you know what I love about him is whenever he gets the ball, he's so direct. And for someone who mightn't have a massive height, he has a lot of build. He's a stocky build, and he's certainly putting himself about so far.
It's been a very lively first 11 minutes. Kilmacud Crokes 2 points in front, but danger here. Ball won really well inside by Sean Moran, who's trying to bear down on goal, and Moran's been fouled where he may be wearing 7, but as we mentioned earlier, he's operating in the Cuala attack. That was a really good diagonal delivery. Moran so good in the air, and it was panic stations in the Kilmacud Crokes full back line.
Yeah, and sometimes because Cuala are so good, you might read too much into things, but it looked like a set play that Darragh O'Connell was running down, targeted the far post, and Sean had already looped around his man, so he had the advantage of being behind. And a good start for Sean. He's certainly a handful in there, and Sean's hurling is so quick and fast that if he gets the ball at all, you need to really try shut him down quickly or he will get scores.
So Sean Moran's free that he won for Cuala is converted by David Tracy. He's up to 3 points already, and Kilmacud Crokes have seen their lead slashed to the bare minimum. Nice tidy ball there from Sean Tracy. Here is Sean Moran. Well, he has started this game like a man who means business. That's a terrific score. He's drifting around the attack, just popping up here and there, and he has just delivered the equaliser.
Yeah, and let it be said that his marker, Darren Butler, is a very tight marker, played Dublin under 21, so good battle going on in there.
12 minutes gone in the go-ahead Dublin Senior Hurling Championship, all square. Another high, booming delivery in towards the Cuala full forward line. This time it just slips through the hand of the corner forward, Liam Murphy. And Eddie Gibbons, the Kilmacud Crokes goalkeeper, weighs up his options, decides to use Lorcan McMullen, playing as a +1 in these early stages, back in the defence. Referee playing an advantage here as Kilmacud decide to run the ball out of defence. That was Dara Butler, and he's managed to find a teammate. Here's Dara Purcell using his speed to find a little bit of time, some room to manoeuvre, and Dara Purcell flashes that shot inches wide. Well, he's here, he's there, he's everywhere, Dara Purcell.
Yeah, just unfortunately needs to add the final product onto his game there. That's 2 points that he could have maybe settled himself and put over, and it might just be his a bit of jitters coming into the game. This is one of his bigger games that he would have played in.
The early Cuala puckouts would suggest that they are determined to retain possession, and time and again Sean Brennan has gone short to Dara O'Connell and company. Ball doesn't stick though on their forward line, and that allows Kilmacud to try and come up with something here. Alex Considine had a bit of work to do there. He was on his knees, lifts it, shoots. That is some score from Alex Considine. His first of the evening, and it is quite spectacular.
Yeah, and he started his run from the edge of the D in here, 30-40 yards out to the sideline, and turned and scored when he was under pressure. So, and that's his second time getting on the ball early on, so his confidence will be up.
Well, the first game here this evening lacked absolutely nothing in terms of excitement and intensity and drama, but you can just feel already 14 minutes into this second game the quality and the finishing. It's just operating at a higher level, isn't it, Owen?
Yeah, it's probably a different kind of game. That the game earlier was really based on tackles, turnovers and that, whereas both teams are really trying to play skillful hurling here.
Well, both teams going at it right from the get-go. Oisin O'Rourke lays it off to the runner, and Kilmacud cut Cuala's defence wide open, and Dara Purcell applies the finish, and Kilmacud lead by 2 points. And I get the feeling we may be talking quite a bit about the O'Callaghan's and Mark Shuday as the evening goes on, Owen, because already you can just see there are gaps appearing all over the field that you wouldn't normally associate with Cuala.
Yeah, I can see Cian O'Callaghan walking the line doing Mayor Ishka here below us, and he's a massive loss to Cuala, that he's just such a steady presence in full back, and you'd have to ask that if he was on the pitch, would Ronan Hayes have ran that distance, that there would have been someone there to meet him. And of course Con, but you know that he speaks for himself, the class and the style he brings to hurling. But the way Cuala are and the outfit they are, that, you know, it's very much a mantra of next man in, and they'll be backing down from nothing here.
Well, Kilmacud backbone by hurlers who have quite a lot of Fitzgibbon Cup experience with UCD. Many of them coached and managed by the legendary Nicky English at UCD. They learned from the master, and so far all of them, those players right up the centre almost of the Kilmacud team, playing crucial roles. And there's another misplaced delivery by a Cuala man. They just haven't been able to get into their rhythm just yet, but still early days. We're heading towards the first water break. That will give everybody a chance to reset and get reorganised as Kilmacud get ready to take a sideline cut right down in front of the dressing rooms here at Parnell Park. Cuala applying a press, trying to force Kilmacud to make a mistake, but that was well kept in play by Davy Crowe, Lorcan McMullen. And here's that man, Dara Purcell again. He's operating in a free role almost, linking defence and attack. He has the freedom of Parnell Park, and he strolls through to knock over his second point of the first quarter, and Kilmacud's lead is out to 3.
Yeah, and you spoke about saying that we might be saying the names of the O'Callaghan's a lot. There's another name hopefully we will be saying a lot in future in Dublin hurling. Just speaking of him, watching him in the under-20 championship this year, he really was such a live wire in there, and he was very impressive, looking hungry for ball, trying to take it on, trying to do the right thing. So and again, 16 minutes into the game here, he's been mentioned 4 or 5 times.
So the water break gives us a chance to look at some of the highlights of the first quarter, and that score from Caelan Conway was certainly one of them. Conway, Alex Considine and Ronan Hayes, they've done the scoring damage for Kilmacud, while down at the other end Cuala very reliant so far on the likes of David Tracy for scores. He's hit 3 frees, while they've also had scores from play from Sean Moran, that one from Sean Tracy, and the opener from Liam Murphy as well. But finally balanced Ronan Hayes' goal, the game-breaking score so far, and we're going to see it in just a moment, Owen, coming up. And again, you could watch this all day long. He won it himself, Ronan Hayes. He applied the finish as well, of course, but some of their approach play in general has been really, really good.
Yeah, Ronan Hayes' goal was just such a bit of class, and you know, he almost looks different when you're watching him hurl, that he's just so finely tuned that you can tell he has that touch, that skill level that others necessarily mightn't have, and he just operates at a slightly higher level. So that goal is nothing new to what I've seen in training and stuff like that, so it's great to see him out there doing it.
So the teams heading back into position. Kilmacud, beaten finalists back in 2018, lost that county final by a goal to Ballyboden St Enda's. That in fact was their 3rd successive county final defeat. They're looking to get back there again and have another shot at the title. Haven't won a county championship here in Dublin since 2014. Crokes, it's quite the wait for a club of their reputation and tradition. But perhaps 2021 will be the year. They've got off to a decent start here anyway. That Ronan Hayes goal setting them up nicely ahead of the start of this second quarter. Lorcan McMullen feeds it through to Oisin O'Rourke. One of many inter-county men on show, goes for the score and denied by his Dublin teammate Sean Brennan. The Cuala goalkeeper at full stretch there to gather that ball, control it and drive it as far as he can in towards the Cuala forward line. But yet again it doesn't stick, and a bit of a tangle there developing between a Cuala man and a Crokes man, and to add insult to injury, free goes against Cuala in any event.
Yeah, and Kilmacud straight in to let them know about it. No better man than Bill O'Carroll to try pump up Crokes. A very entertaining, fast-paced game so far, and just looking out into the pitch as Eddie Gibbons takes this, it's worth saying what a good year he had for the Dublin under-20 team. He's a class act. He's as looks as casual as you like, but still confident at the same time on the puck outs and the frees, and is another player that hopefully will have a long future for Dublin.
Alex Considine. Well, when he picked that ball up on the right wing, there looked to be very little danger, but for a big man, he's got serious wheels, and he just cut inside Michael Conroy, left him for dead, and scores on the run. And all of a sudden, Kilmacud's lead is out to 4.
Might be time for Cuala to have a look at that Michael Conroy. Just a bit of a mismatch in terms of size there. It's the third time Alex Considine's got the ball, and Ronan Hayes goes again here. Considine
doesn't look like a man who misses too many gym sessions, or Ronan Hayes either. Whiteley on the end of the move. Kilmacud are hurling at a very high level in this first half. That's another eye-catching move, and Whiteley just came into the line at pace, didn't need to break stride. 1-8 plays 6 points, and Kilmacud, the outsiders, coming in 5 points clear, and already beginning to open up some daylight as David Tracy goes in search of some time and space, lays it off, but the shot is hit under pressure from Liam Murphy, and that is away to the right and wide. There are so many matchups to keep an eye on all over the field, Owen, but one that's caught my eye in the last few minutes, Cuala's Jake Malone marking Fergal Whiteley, and he's got his hands full.
Absolutely, and they'd be no strangers to marking each other in training. They're both competing in midfield position, so would know all about each other.
Here's a goal chance for Kilmacud. Considine, Hayes! Oh, it's a bullet, and it's buried in the back of the net. 2 goals for Ronan Hayes. The Kilmacud Crokes full forward, and the county champions are in dire straits here. They've fallen 8 points behind 19 minutes in.
Yeah, absolutely, and dire straits is right, and Cuala will want to pick it up fairly soon. But what a goal again. Just Ronan Hayes, goal poacher, waiting in behind, ball flicked into him, and no mistake with the finish.
Short puck out from Brennan to Owen O'Callaghan, but Owen's first touch wasn't good. Cuala looked like they got away with it, but possession turned over very cheaply. Ball given away by Sean Tracy. This allows Kilmacud to keep the pressure on, but as soon as that shot was struck, you could see from the body language they weren't happy. Cuala get away with it, and they really now need a score or two, the county champions, just to get up and running again. They've lost their way, certainly since the water break ended. At that stage, Kilmacud were a goal in front. They've pushed that lead out now to 8 points. So they've certainly come out all guns blazing in this second quarter. Here's Ronan Hayes, very much the man of the moment so far. Referee playing an advantage. Hayes shoots, and he's going to bring it back for the free. Oh no, he's going to let it stand, in fact. It just crept inside the post. Sean McCarthy's happy. That's now 2-2 for Ronan Hayes.
Yeah, on fire so far, and again we spoke about maybe a change on Alex Considine. Maybe there's a change needed on Ronan Hayes as well, that this game will slip very quickly away from Cuala if they don't start getting their matchups right.
Well, that Cuala full back line is taking in quite a bit of water. Michael Conroy and John Shannon under more and more pressure, but the ball being delivered in is top class. At the other end, it's David Tracy trying to make a few hard yards, bounces into a couple of Kilmacud tackles. Sean McCarthy felt they overstepped the mark. Cuala get the free, but you can see every time Cuala come down that central channel on, Kilmacud are closing in around the ball carrier, happy enough to bottle them up.
Yeah, Crokes look like a very well drilled outfit today, and if you look at the Cuala forward line, Sean Moran obviously had a very bright start, but David Tracy has been the one consistent player trying to keep things ticking over for them, so they need a couple of the other lads to step up now.
That's 4 points from frees now for David Tracy, another player who's got so much big game experience. He's operating in a forward line that has Sean Moran positioned pretty much at full forward. It's a 2-man inside line Cuala are operating with by and large, with David Tracy just sitting at the tip of the triangle. But it is Dara Butler who is picking up Sean Moran and doing his best to deny Moran the sort of time and space he wants and needs. And there's no doubt who's the happier in terms of managers right now. Kieran Dowling, the Kilmacud Crokes manager. His game plan, his best laid plans working.
Yeah, that's
well,
exactly
very much so far.
Yeah, the difference in Cuala have brought a man back, and Darragh O'Connell is sitting at the edge of the D, whereas the Kilmacud free man Bill O'Carroll is pushed up the pitch and is nearly sitting on the 65, and Kilmacud probably getting that bit more possession out around that section.
Kilmacud happy to shoot from long range. That's Caelan Conway. He's not afraid to shoot. That's a second wide he's hit in this second quarter. He's also hit an outrageous monster point for his efforts as well. But he'll keep on shooting. Kilmacud 8 points in front. Cuala, they'll have to come from behind if they're to win this first round game. That's Dara O'Connell. That's beautifully struck. And the man who's played inter-county with both Kerry and Dublin strokes over his first of the evening.
The great thing about Dara O'Connell playing sweeper is he's such fitness and such good legs that he'll get up and down the pitch all the time. So not only is he protecting, he'll get up and support the attack as well.
Well, he can certainly score, and right now he's back in position as the sweeper, but powerless to prevent Crokes making headway. Dylan Mulligan out as far as Caelan Conway. There are men literally queuing up. Here is Conway, who takes the pass, and Caelan Conway, this time from much closer range, hits the target at his leisure, and the lead is back out to 8 points again.
Yeah, and it just you have to think that the Cuala are depleted. They're down some key men and just struggling to find answers at the moment.
Short puck out from Sean Brennan to Michael Conroy, and now Owen O'Callaghan. Support outside from John Shannon, who's trying to get forward now, trying to pose a few problems going in the other way. But that means Ronan Hayes is unattended. Back to cover him fairly quickly there went Jake Malone. He knew there was danger if this breaks down. Cuala hoping it won't. Ball slipped from Killian Shannon. Ball delivered long, and that is very aimless. It was too long for the runner, wide of the target, very unlike Cuala.
Yeah, a reoccurrence in this game is both keepers nearly have a ball in their hand and they're poking it out before the ball even goes dead. And if I was Sean ref in the game now, I'd think just to slow it down a couple of seconds, that you need to give chance to lads to reset.
Well, it's become a feature of the modern game, all right. Puck outs getting quicker and quicker, and neither Sean Brennan or Eddie Gibbons are hanging around. As Owen mentioned there is a second schlitter ready at all times to go. Kilmacud have already hit a wide from this man, Alex Considine. He's looking for his third point. 3 points, all from play. Alex Considine has brought his A game, and Michael Conroy just struggling to get to grips.
Yeah, Alex Considine, and that's a super score. Kind of under pressure, falling over off his left-hand side. And we spoke about earlier saying that the other end was the shooting zone. Kilmacud have certainly debunked that.
This time Michael Conroy gets on the ball from the short puck out, has the confidence to bounce it, but misplaces the pass to Dara O'Connell. Again, an unforced error from Cuala. Bullet pass from Dara Purcell to Ronan Hayes. Dummies to go one way, the other. Hayes, and there is the hat-trick. Ronan Hayes with his third goal of the first half. Well, he's hit them from all angles. He is terrorising the Cuala full back line. And Sean Brennan, despite his best efforts, powerless to prevent that ball rolling into the Cuala net. 3-11 plays 8 points, and the county champions in all sorts of trouble.
Yeah, and I said earlier you won't see as good a goal as that in the country anywhere today, and Ron Hayes had to prove me wrong and go and score nearly a better goal himself. Just the catch there was unbelievable. The hands and reflexes, and then the dummy, just top class goal.
Well, you can see from his approach work, he is very much on top of his game. He's enjoying this. They all are. That's Pádraig Linehan, and the Kilmacud Crokes, number 11, fires over their 12th point. It has been some first half performance from Kilmacud. They're attacking Cuala from all angles. They're really taking the game to the champions, and Cuala so far have no answers. 26 minutes in, just look at that scoreline. 13 points between the teams. This is not the way it was supposed to pan out, as Dara O'Connell tries to get forward. I think he's got the message from the sideline now. His days as a sweeper numbered for the moment. He's got to get forward. That shot from Liam Murphy has come back off the post. Murphy took a knock for his trouble, but nothing, absolutely nothing going right from Cuala's perspective so far, as Fergal Whiteley gets on the ball for Kilmacud over on the far side of the field. Just two men up front, but that's not really a huge issue when one of them is Ronan Hayes. But this time his first touch is not quite as good as his previous ones. Just took the ball away from him. And Cuala relieved, I think, to hear the sound of the whistle. Free to Jake Malone.
Yeah, where it seems that Cuala are really struggling is they're getting short puck outs off, but then the second phase of play that they're coming to the 45 and can't seem to retain ball on the second phase, that they're hitting the ball in aimless. Kilmacud have that protection back there, and just every ball that goes in is coming straight back out.
Sean Brennan with the long range free, and again it's a missed opportunity. They just haven't been themselves. They're not hurling with the same sort of fluency or cohesion.
No, and you'd have to wonder that the Sean Moore, although had a very bright start, are you robbing the defence, the Cuala defence, of a very valuable player there for someone that's not getting fed?
Puck out well won in the air by Andy Power. Cuala so badly need a score, and they've come up with one. Well, it's been a long time coming. They've been under the cosh for long spells, but up steps Diarmuid O'Flynn with a crucial score. Cuala's 9th, and as we head towards the half-time break, every score, every flag now for the defending champions is priceless.
Yeah, and Darragh O'Connell is pushed up as a sweeper now. He's now playing more in the middle of the park. Still is a free man, but is no longer directly just sitting on the edge of the D.
Well, Cuala so concerned about Ronan Hayes, but there are other threats too. Alex Considine very much one of them, and that is point number 4 for the big number 15. One of a half dozen or so with that Fitzgibbon Cup experience from UCD. He's a hurler who can do it in all sorts of weather, and Considine is really filling his boots, and he restores that cushion again for Crokes. Now Darragh O'Connell, 1 minute he was covering the full back line, now he gets forward, and all of that industry pays off with a really well taken score.
Really good score by there, and he's probably one of the few Cuala players at the pace of the game at the moment, but just Crokes seem everything they touch just seems to be coming off for them.
Puck outs coming thick and fast from Eddie Gibbons. Conway feeds Hayes. Hayes is hurling with such freedom and such confidence that nothing can go wrong. 3 goals and 3 points for the Crokes number 14. Puck out, delivered fast. That's the first time I think we've heard the clash of the ash here at Parnell Park. Bit of a coming together there between Conway and O'Connell. Didn't look to be a whole lot in it, but Darragh O'Connell is still down and looks to be in some difficulty. Referee Sean McCarthy is letting the play continue. Now he blows the whistle to allow attention to come on, but not quite sure, Owen, if you caught a glimpse of that. It didn't look to be...
No, it didn't. It just seemed that as Quaylen Conway was running back and Darragh O'Connell had released the ball, he just gave him a nudge, certainly in the back, but maybe it was a case of whiplash maybe, but it certainly didn't seem enough to he does genuinely seem in pain. It does seem it must be a case that he whipped his head back. Yeah,
just looking at the replay there briefly, I think you were right in your first assessment. It was a shoulder into the back as he ran by, and I think Darragh O'Connell did get a sort of whiplash effect as a result of it, so he's down at the moment, and not quite sure if the linesman on this near side spotted it. That looks like it could be, is it Sean Stack down on this near side? Not quite sure who our linesman is. He's going to speak to Sean McCarthy, but
with Darragh in such pain here, Cuala will be worried, but he's a key man for them that they wouldn't want to be losing now at this stage, because he's really the one doing the covering and the attacking for them at the moment.
Darragh O'Connell is still down and receiving attention. You'll have seen the referee there, Sean McCarthy, have a quick word with the linesman, but
and Cian O'Callaghan trying to have a word with him as well. He'd be cute enough to try getting his ear.
Well, the good news from a Cuala perspective is that Darragh O'Connell is up on his feet again and good to go. He was taken by surprise, obviously, with that hit from Quaylen Conway as he ran by.
Yeah, I don't think there's a massive amount in it. Just a small bit of getting to know each other. Maybe not ideal to show someone in the back, but just in case of whiplash and get on with it.
So that stoppage has taken us into additional time at the end of the first half. First half that has been completely and utterly dominated by Kilmacud Crokes. They have had by far the better of the exchanges, and Ronan Hayes' hat-trick is really the score that has done the damage. Now, Darragh O'Connell is leaving the field here. I'm not quite sure if that's a temporary substitution or not. It looks like Kevin Kerwin is the player who's come in to replace him. I think Darragh O'Connell maybe has just gone off to be checked out a little further. Just give him a chance to gather his thoughts before half time. Play restarts. Sean Tracy feeds it inside. Ball won by Liam Murphy, and that's much better from Cuala. Murphy, he's an old school corner forward, keeps it simple, and that's now 3-14 to 11 points.
And maybe just a break and play and settle things down is what Cuala needed there. But I say we'll see Darragh O'Connell again. He hasn't gone up into the dugout. He's standing with his helm still on, ready to go. So I'd say we'll definitely see him again.
Caelan Conway unable to get that ball under control. Just juggled it for a moment. Sideline cut to Cuala. David Tracy will take it. Sean Moran is the furthest man forward, trying to make a run, a decoy run to free up some space. Tracy cuts it across the field, looking for a runner. Again, it's the razor sharp corner forward Liam Murphy who's first to react, but this effort is wayward, out to the left and wide.
No, wide on that occasion, but this is definitely better play from Cuala. They're getting more into the stride of things, and if they can tack on one or two more now, try put themselves in a position to be close enough for a comeback in the second half.
Well, there's been very little for the Cuala supporters in the small crowd of just a few hundred people here to shout about as Ronan Hayes goes in search of goal number 4, and Sean Brennan had to be extremely sure-footed and steady under that dropping ball, and he drives it right down into the Cuala full forward line, but sweeping across to cover is Jamie Clinton. Support from Davy Crowe as they double up to try and clear the danger. That was very well won indeed by the Cuala forward there. I think it may have been Colm Shannon that got his hand on it as trying to come through the middle at pace, and fouled is one of the Cuala forwards, and there was no doubt about that.
I think, yeah. No doubt about a free, maybe a yellow card. I think Bill just stood his ground and made sure Sean Moran was hit coming through, but yeah, like I just before this play I was going to make the point that maybe Cuala might consider again bringing Sean Moran out, that he's such a valuable player to leave inside when the ball's not going in, and then he makes a direct run like that. It's just he's normally the one back there pulling the strings.
So a yellow for Bill O'Carroll for that challenge on Sean Moran, as up steps David Tracy. Right now Kilmacud Crokes leading by 12 points, and David Tracy cuts it back to 11, and that will be the final act of the opening half here at Parnell Park. This go-ahead Dublin Senior Hurling Championship round 1 game very much going Kilmacud Crokes' way in the opening half, and that scoreline speaks volumes about what we've seen so far. And to reduce it down to one man, or to the man who's stolen the headline so far, you'd have to say, Owen, it's Ronan Hayes. 3 goals and 3 points, all from play. He's put on an exhibition.
An exhibition is the only word for it, and 3 spectacular goals, and 2 of the finest you'll see in any match around the country today. He's just such a skillful hurler, and it's probably symptomatic of the whole Crokes team, that just everything they're doing today seems to work out. A lot of their players are firing. Alex Considine inside beside Hazer is also flying. He's got 3 or 4 points from play now, I take it, and the Cuala full backline in trouble. But the talking point, unfortunately, is the lads that Cuala are missing, that with the addition of Keane, Colin Cronin, who's working as a doctor in Australia, unfortunately won't be back for them, but they're just missing some key men, and the other lads just don't seem to have the answer for today anyway.
Well, there we see Ronan Hayes' emphatic finish. His hat-trick really has treated us to the full array of Ronan Hayes' skills, and here's his point as well. He's such a big man. He's got so many skills and so many things he can use at any one time to absolutely terrorise a defence. He can play it any way you want.
Absolutely. He had a great year for Dublin this year, and just unfortunately run of bad luck with COVID at the end of the year, and just was probably not as his usual going into the Cork game. But he's a serious talent for us, and he's a kind of a talisman forward that you can build an attack around, and he's certainly shown it today for Kilmacud.
And he's received plenty of help as well from the likes of Alex Considine and Caelan Conway, as Owen mentioned. They've had a really good spread of scores. Dara Purcell, well, he's hit a few scores. He's also delivered plenty of ammunition, and that's how Ronan Hayes completed his hat-trick. Sean Brennan, you can just see there how desperately unlucky he feels. He got his body behind it, but just too much power on the shot. While down at the other end, really, Cuala finding it very difficult to make inroads, and once Kilmacud broke the line on that occasion, it was Pádraig Linehan, one of the Dublin under-20s brigade, who got his name on the score sheet. Cuala, though, finishing the first half with something of a flourish. Diarmuid O'Flynn with his only point of the game so far. That was a morale-boosting score. And then Alex Considine. He's a player you really like the look of, Owen, and you flagged it from an early stage. Cuala probably needed to take a look at that man-marking job and make a change.
Yeah, and it's interesting for a big fella. He's doing a lot of running in there that his initial run for the ball isn't where he's going to end up, so he's certainly making life difficult for the Cuala full back line, and then he has the finishing to add to it as well. So Crokes will be very happy with what they've come up with so far. Having said that, as we've mentioned in the previous game, is that leads in hurling are often fickle and can be reduced very quickly, and Cuala have all the experience in the world, so hopefully from a neutral point of view, Cuala can pull a comeback here and will be treated to as good a game as we had earlier this afternoon.
Well, just to put into context what Kilmacud Crokes have done in this first half, their tally of 3-14 would have been good enough to win the first game here. It took 22 points from St. Jude's to get the job done against St. Vincent's. Kilmacud Crokes have surpassed that already, and we're only at half time. We'll take a quick break just to catch our breath. At the break, though, the county champions Cuala very much second best. Kilmacud Crokes leading 3-14 to 12 points. And you're welcome back to Parnell Park. Second half about to get underway. In case you've just joined us, don't forget you can get in touch. You can join the conversation, as it were, on social media. Use the hashtag GoAheadDSHA. You're watching Dubs TV. This the second game of our double header this evening in the Go Ahead Dublin Senior Hurling Championship. It is the opening weekend, the weekend where battle lines are drawn and gauntlets are thrown down, and certainly Kilmacud Crokes have made their opening statement very loud and clear so far here this evening. 3-14 to 12 points. They are 11 points ahead, and you just wonder, is there any way they can lose it from here, as Oisin O'Rourke misses a chance to put them 12 up. Now he's on the ground. I presume by the looks of things he didn't exactly fall over, so the referee Sean McCarthy will have to head to the other side to talk to his other linesman. We'll have a look and see if we caught anything on the replay, Owen, but already another man in the wars.
No, I couldn't see it. I'd say he got a late hit, alright. We were looking to see if the ball had gone over, but I'd say he got a late hit from the look of things, and he looks hurt. But a couple of little changes that we see is that Jake Malone late in the halfway through the first half picked up Ronan Hayes, so he's in full back marking him. Owen O'Callaghan has switched to Dara Purcell, and a few little changes around, tweaks from Cuala trying to get on top of things.
Yeah, I see Colm O'Farrell has come into the Cuala team. He's a half-time substitute, and the good news is Dara O'Connell is back on again, so that did turn out to be a temporary replacement, Kevin Kerwin, for Dara O'Connell. But it's a yellow card actually for the Cuala number 18, Andy Power. So obviously Andy Power has been identified as the man who caught Oisin O'Rourke late, and Oisin will just need a couple of moments to get back to his feet. But I did pose the question just before that shot from Oisin O'Rourke, Owen, is there any way Kilmacud can lose the game from here? I mean, they've put themselves in a very, very strong position.
Yeah, absolutely, and sure, of course they can lose the game, but if they continue in the same way they played in the first half, it's extremely unlikely to see that. They just were such strong runners. They were running off the ball, they were aggressive, they were tackling, hunting in packs, and the way they were taking their scores with Ronan Hayes and Alex Considine, that it's hard to see them lads dip their form now in the second half.
So Oisin O'Rourke back on his feet again, good to go. He's been used close to the Cuala goal so far. Don't let that number 8 on his back deceive you, as Sean Brennan, one of the busiest men in Parnell Park this evening for all the wrong reasons, takes the puck out for Cuala, picks out Sean Moran, who has definitely started in a deeper position than he was employed in the opening half. Spent the opening half in at full forward. That attack breaks down. It's been the story of the game so far from a Cuala point of view. Their forward line just really struggling to get into any sort of a flow. Ball on the floor, chipped back beautifully as far as Cian McGowan, and first time he lets it go long. Lets the ball do the work inside towards Alex Considine, one of the go-to men in the Kilmacud attack. Brilliant run, Considine. Well, it would have been some goal. Tried to bat it into the net, but eventually he just ran out of road, and eventually Cuala given a free out for a foul in the ensuing scramble to try and win the loose ball. But Alex Considine, who did so much damage in the first half, he has a different marker now, as Owen mentioned, but he is still capable of causing the same sort of damage.
Yeah, just the aggressive run, that the first thing he had in his mind when he got the ball was take his man on it and run at them. And another little warning shot for Cuala, that they obviously haven't gotten things in place in their half-time team talk that they wanted to so far anyway.
Well, St. Vincent scored 3 goals in the opening game here this evening. Wasn't enough to see them beat St. Jude's. The 3 goals Kilmacud have scored, though, have put a very different shape on this match. John Shannon trying to drive forward down that left wing, but the Cavan County man driven backwards. They're trying to run it, they're trying to play through the lines, they go long on occasion, and every single time Kilmacud are waiting for them. They are really well organised and well prepped, and that was Linehan with help from McGowan, and ball cleared away. Kilmacud's defence playing from the front. Dara Purcell puts on the afterburners to lose the first defender, but runs down that central channel, and that's exactly where Cuala wanted him to go, and they've won the free.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit of inexperience. He might have taken his shot slightly earlier, but he has some set a pace on him that he started his run behind Oisin O'Rourke and took him over to provide a support run. But I can see Sean Moran has gone out to wing forward for Cuala, and David Tracy's gone inside, and an obvious attempt just to try switch around and ask a few more questions to Kilmacud.
So Sean Brennan to take the free. Darragh O'Connell is back in his sweeper role again. Sean Brennan with a thunderous hit down towards the Kilmacud Crokes goal, but it's away to the left and wide. They're just lacking that spark, that energy, Cuala, that we have come to associate with them. And remember, games coming up in this group against Thomas Davis and St. Bridget's in the weeks ahead for both of these teams. Kilmacud on the front foot. Chasing after this is Considine. He's got Dara Purcell for company. Ball wins the race out over the end line. In fact, Andy Power rather was chasing after Alex Considine there. But for once, the ball was misdirected. Keeps Cuala inside their own half. Short puck out. Directed over to the far side of the field towards Owen O'Callaghan. Down the line to Diarmuid O'Flynn. Trying to hold off Pádraig Linehan and play the pass. Easier said than done. This is Brian Sheehy getting forward from the defence, but there's a bit of a tangle in the middle of the field. Space is at a premium again, and in the end, whistle sounds, free in. Well, they're having to work hard for anything they get, and bringing the ball into contact at this stage in the game is exactly what Kilmacud are hoping for and looking for. Cuala do get the free.
Yeah, and I hate to use the term, I think sometimes it's a bit of a cop-out to say which team is hungrier, but at the moment Cuala just look flat, that they look like they're lethargic and out of gas, and Kilmacud seem massively up for it. So while there's obvious factors like the Cuala lads that are missing and Crokes being up for it, but that seems to me as a big a point as any, is just that Cuala look very flat.
Certainly haven't looked like they've got the capacity to open up the Kilmacud defence and create a goal scoring opportunity just yet, but still plenty of time. That free from David Tracy just shaves a little off the gap, and here they come again. Racing out from the corner is Liam Murphy. He's the furthest Cuala forward up the field, has to take on the shot. Well, he's scored 2, Liam Murphy. He's missed 3 or 4 as well, but support very slow in getting to him.
Yeah, he's put himself in good positions, doing very well to get out, and the turn was very neat, turn Jamie Clinton, and just, you know, on another day he'd be firing them over, and it just doesn't seem to be clicking for Cuala.
Crokes goalkeeper Eddie Gibbons biding his time here. He's in no particular hurry. They try to retain possession. Pinpoint delivery won by Bill O'Carroll, inspirational fullback. Man on the move here is Cian McGowan. Nobody tracked his run. McGowan off his left. Wonderful score from Cian McGowan. Well, that was so simple and so effective. Gibbons to O'Carroll to McGowan, point number 15.
Yeah, and I hope just that on camera it did that score justice, that Bill put an inch perfect pass over the shoulder into the line of Cian McGowan and just straight over, and it comes from Eddie Gibbons, the Crokes goalkeeper, that they've such a platform and confidence to launch attacks from there.
Sean Moran picks up that loose ball, read his teammates' intentions, and that cancels out McGowan's score at the other end, and it just keeps Cuala in touch, but still 10 points between the teams as John Toomey and Eddie Brennan decide it's time to make a change. Another one, this time coming in, it's number 22, Jack Lahert, who's into the Cuala team, and the man who's been replaced, Andy Power. He's wearing 18, but he did start, and Lahert has gone straight into the Cuala full back line. Gibbons short again to O'Carroll. It's a set play, but O'Carroll's first touch is poor. Liam Murphy is hit, and hit hard by O'Carroll. He's on a yellow, but that's not curbing his enthusiasm, shall we say. Still tearing into every tackle with great abandon. Ball played forward towards James Dillon, who's come in as a substitute for Kilmacud. Hayes, he is a battering ram full forward, and that left hand again comes in handy. This time draws the free.
Yeah, and not to be harping on about the lads that Cuala are missing, but you just have to imagine if Cian O'Callaghan was there, that although Ronan Hayes is an exceptional player, there's very slim chance that Cian O'Callaghan would let Ronan do what he's doing today, so that's certainly worth a couple of points. And not to be harping on, because we can only talk about what is in front of us, but Cuala are certainly diminished today.
So Ronan Hayes takes over free-taking duties, and same outcome. But you can just sense from the atmosphere around Parnell Park right now, Cuala are very much on the ropes. The normal cut and thrust sense around the ground for a game like this just lacking since half-time.
No, they're really struggling in their usual style of play, that normally they're so fluid in motion and can retain the ball, whereas now they're getting the ball fine in their full back line, half back line, but then transitioning out just seems to cause problems.
Sean McCarthy's whistle sounds, free to Cuala. That was a foul on Owen O'Callaghan as he tried to drive out through the 45. Free taken by John Shannon. Delivers it long, but nobody there in a Cuala jersey. In fact, nobody within 25 yards of Bill O'Carroll, who lays it off. This would be some score. Just short. Batted away by Sean Brennan and falls kindly for Jack Lahert, who gets it away from danger again. But Cuala really struggling now to get their second wind 11 minutes into the second half. There's still an awfully long way to go, but they're struggling for inspiration as Ronan Hayes again drives through the tackles, follows through on the shot. Referee saw nothing wrong with the tackle. Ronan Hayes is still down and hasn't moved a whole pile in the last few seconds since he hit the deck. Now the whistle sounds, but that's for a free out to Cuala. Game will stop to allow Ronan Hayes receive attention. Well, I'm not quite sure exactly how he ended up on the floor. I think it may be exhaustion as much as anything, because he threw himself into that last passage of play with great vigour and enthusiasm, but he is still down, Ronan Hayes, and being worked on.
It looked like it was a collision of heads there that certainly Ronan hurt his head, and worryingly he hasn't moved a whole lot at all since he's turned onto his back now, but was very, very slow to move there, which is worrying.
So the play stopped. Referee Sean McCarthy doesn't seem too troubled at the moment. He hasn't gone over to check on Ronan Hayes. That can only lead us to believe he's not unduly concerned, but the Kilmacud man is being treated by the physio, and play has been stopped just to allow the protocols be followed. But Sean McCarthy, you can see him shaking his head there. He's not interested certainly in Ronan Hayes' claims that he should have been given a free, certainly, and the body language of the referee would suggest he's just waiting for the game to restart. I'm not quite sure.
No, I don't think there was anything malicious there. I think it was just a coming together, and Hayes said he's up on his feet now and he seems okay. I don't think there was anything malicious, just a coming together of bodies.
So Ronan Hayes back on his feet, good to go. You can always tell in those situations by the referee's demeanour, I think. Sean McCarthy closer than any of us, and waves play on, free taken, and in any event the ball is back in a Kilmacud hand again. We're 13 minutes into the second half on a lovely autumnal evening here at Parnell Park. We're into the month of September. The Dublin Senior Hurling Championship is off and running, and already the title contenders making their moves, and among them, on the evidence of the display so far, Kilmacud Crokes. They look very determined to try and halt Cuala's ambitions of winning a hat-trick of Dublin County Championships. They've done back-to-back. They're going for 3 in a row, but they'll have to really pick up the pace down the home stretch here. Some 20 minutes still to play if they're to make a game of this, as down along that far side it's Diarmuid O'Flynn, picks it on the run, gets plenty of height and accuracy, and that's over the bar, and that's much better.
Much better, yeah. The game needs something to kick to life here. It's gone kind of flat since the second half started, and the pace has certainly dropped.
Well, I know Owen went to grab a coffee before the start of the game. He may have to go and grab another one for the last quarter, as he said, just starting to peter out a little. There's been quite a lot of stoppages as well. It's just compared to what we got in the first half, it's a completely different game.
Yeah, exactly. The stoppages, you're right, probably doesn't help at all. There's been a lot of lads going down and maybe freeze and things like that. But yeah, the story of the game for me so far is that Kilmacud have been up to a very high level. They're well drilled. They look to know exactly what they're doing on puck outs. They knew exactly what they were doing with their sweeper when Cuala played one. So although, as we've said, Cuala are missing some, that still doesn't take away from the Kilmacud performance.
Well, you've heard what Owen thinks. Why don't you let us know what you think? Use the hashtag GoAheadDSHA. You'll find us on the Dubs GA Twitter page as we head towards the second water break here at Parnell Park. Kilmacud beaten in the quarter-finals last year, pipped by a point by Lucan Sarsfields. They did get an injury time goal that day from Ronan Hayes. Wasn't enough to save the day for them, but they will look back with a lot of regrets on that defeat, and they will certainly want to atone, you'd imagine, as this season's championship unfolds. They will feel they're certainly a place in the knockout stages is not beyond them, and they will certainly feel they're capable of going all the way if they can keep this standard up. But right now it's Lorcan McMullen who's having his name taken. Yellow card for the number 13.
Yeah, this Crokes team, looking out, they seem to have a good blend of age, that they have some of the older guard in Bill O'Carroll and Keane McGowan and the lads, but they seem to just have a nice balance of lads like Fergal Whiteley and Dara Purcell and Eddie Gibbons, that they just seem to have nicely clicked together.
Free from Cuala, delivered long, breaks in the general direction of Colm Shannon. He's trying to keep it alive, but across to cover came Dara Butler, and the referee Sean McCarthy from Vincent's blows the whistle to signal the water break. That will tell both teams that we've reached the halfway mark in the second half. Kilmacud Crokes 316, Cuala 15 points. It is a 10-point lead at the moment for Kilmacud Crokes, and they're really full value for it as we take a look at some of the highlights, Owen, from the third quarter. A third quarter, again, dominated by the leaders, Kilmacud Crokes.
Yeah, and probably the point we're looking at there from Keane McGowan was the standout play, a lovely ball from Bill, but as we were saying, the game has just kind of petered out. The intensity has dropped. Stoppages probably didn't help, but unless Cuala really kicked to life now in the second half, like 10 points in a hurling match isn't a massive amount if you're competitive, you look like scoring, but Cuala don't even look like posing a challenge to the Kilmacud full back line. They haven't had any chance on shot on goal, really. They've been very poor.
Well, it is a first round game. We were chatting about this after the first match off air. There's still a long way to go. This is a marathon, not a sprint. But if you were right now, let's say in the Kilmacud Crokes huddle, like what is the message from Kieran Dowling and company? What can they learn? What can they take from this last quarter that might stand them in good stead down the line?
Yeah, the way hurling has gone, it's gone so process driven that each team will have a system and style of play, and the idea behind it is you stick to that whether you're 10 points up like Kilmacud are or you're 10 points down from Cuala, and you have to have that belief that whatever your system is will get you over the line at the end. So if I was Kieran Dowling, I'd be saying to the lads to keep doing what they have been doing, that they obviously have a good structure in their backs. Bill O'Carroll has been a big protection sitting there. They've been running from deep. Dara Purcell, a clear tactic is that Dara Purcell has been given a license to go really wherever he wants, that he's number 18 on his back, but I think he lined out corner forward but hasn't been in there for more than a minute. He's just kind of roamed, and the same with Ronan Hayes, that he's in and out. So Crokes have a nice style of play that they're sticking to here, and although maybe Cuala haven't brought it today, there's certainly an element that Kilmacud haven't let them, that they've just overpowered them in nearly every position on the pitch.
And then on the flip side, as we get ready to watch the last quarter unfold, what's likely to have been the message there from Eddie Brennan and John Toomey and company? I mean, they are county champions. They'll have a big say in what happens as the the season goes on. But when you're 10 points down, what's the message heading into the last 15 minutes?
I say John and Eddie were trying to just get a bit of energy into the lads, that they just look flat, that they don't look like penetrating the Kilmacud protection there. They don't look like kicking off, or there hasn't even been, not that we condone it, but there hasn't been a a tussle or a coming together of lads. Kilmacud have been just completely dominant in every position on the pitch.
So away we go. The last quarter is off and running. John Shannon making a beeline for the Kilmacud goal. Runners break right and left. Decides to go short. They're looking to engineer an opening. Back to David Tracy. And if Cuala wanted anyone to get on the end of that move from that sort of range, it would have been David Tracy. That's his first point from play by my count, and it's his 5th of the evening.
First point from play, but probably if you had to pick one, was one of the more standout performers from Cuala, and just John Shannon running at the Kilmacud defence. Kilmacud swallowed them up and dealt with the threat very easy and just pushed David Tracy out to take a point, and Kilmacud will be happy enough to concede them.
I see Kilmacud have slipped on a sub there during the water break. Number 26, Cian Ryan, is on to the field just down here in front of us. So he's going to get a chance to impress in the last quarter. Fergal Whiteley all the way across to Dylan Mulligan as Kilmacud play keep ball. Lorcan McMullen shortens the grip, but the Cuala man there just got enough on it to execute a half hook, as it were. Took the sting out of the shot. Now Sean Tracy waits for the runner. Here's the call, and that's Jake Malone. Takes a touch. First time he's had a chance really to get his head up and play a pass. Finds Liam Murphy. Murphy is buzzing around that forward line all evening long, and that is his 3rd point. Well, he certainly won't stop, Liam Murphy. He just keeps on going, and that is point number 3 for him and 17 for Cuala.
Liam Murphy will be happy with that. That's his 4th or 5th time getting a ball out in front like that, whereas he might have hit 2 wides, but he settled himself there, and a very good score because he doesn't have a massive amount of help up there at all.
Nicky Kenny is on for Cuala. Colm Shannon has been replaced. The Shannons cousins of the O'Callaghan's, so all very talented hurlers, all key men in the Cuala squad, the Cuala machine. But with Cian O'Callaghan and Con as well missing this evening, just Cuala haven't been like their old selves, and Colm Shannon now withdrawn as Nicky Kenny comes in to try and add something, some sort of punch to the Cuala attack. Sean Moran over on the far side being made to work for any ground he can make by Dara Butler. Here is Nicky Kenny, first involvement, just in off the bench, shot half blocked, well kept in play by Liam Murphy. Tries to recycle it through to Kenny again, but Lorcan McMullen back sweeping, just in the right place at the right time, intercepts, and now Dara Purcell. First time ball. Hayes breaks out to try and win it. So too the substitute James Dillon. It's fed back, and really there were so many options there for Kilmacud. Any amount of players waiting to take on the shot. Lovely finish. 3 clear goals between the teams.
Yeah, the contrast and difference between the two attacks, that Kilmacud were so fast, they have space in their forward, and that's what hurling has turned into, is just a kind of a chess match, that whoever can clog up their back line and create space in their forward line. And just even looking out, Kilmacud looks set up, you can see 6 backs, whereas you look at the Cuala back line and it's just fragmented, and people are being pulled and dragged everywhere.
Well, once Cuala got to the knockout stages last season, nobody could live with them. They beat St. Bridget's, Lucan Sarsfields and Ballyboden St. Enda's in those 3 big knockout games. Quarter-final, semi-final and final, en route to retaining their championship. But here they've managed to win a free, and the game will be stopped here to allow one of the Kilmacud lads sort out some cramp. We've reached that stage of the match, 9 minutes to go, where no surprise really, the huge effort that Kilmacud have invested here starting to take its toll.
Yeah, and just on a side note, it looks like Sean Moran will be going for goal here. You'd imagine if he's going for his point, Tracy would have the signal from the line has gone in to put it over. But yeah, you're right, yeah, cramps are setting in, that the teams obviously would have been playing challenge games, but nothing can prepare you for this. But it's just interesting to see this, that the message went in from the line to put it over, and Tracy went over to take the free, and Sean Moran seems to have persisted with this.
Well, you can see where Sean Moran is coming from. They're 9 points down with 8.5 minutes to go, so I think Sean Moran has made the decision It's goal or nothing. No surprise, Eddie Gibbons has brought back some reinforcements onto the line. 4 Kilmacud men standing with the goalkeeper. The injured party, Dara Purcell, is back on his feet. In fact, it was Dara Butler who needed treatment for cramp. So it's Sean Moran against, half the parish of Kilmacud by the looks of it. What do you think, Owen?
He has a great strike, but it just seems unlikely.
So he's just outside the 20-metre line. He'll be on it when he strikes it. Moran goes for goal and blocked on the line and cleared away by Eddie Gibbons. Well, he backed himself, Sean Moran, and he has delivered some big goals for Cuala and Dublin in the pass from frees from that sort of range. Ball is driven back in by John Shannon, and that's away to the left. So they leave empty-handed.
Yeah, very uncharacteristic from Cuala there. Not sure what the process was involved, but it did seem that management were trying to put it over, and then to come away with nothing is just adds more fuel to the Kilmacud fire.
Man on his knees there, Fionn O'Gallig for Kilmacud. That's a big hit on Diarmuid O'Flynn. No surprise to see the free go Cuala's way, but that's the sort of exchange, the sort of challenge we could have done with maybe an hour ago.
Yeah, absolutely. I running out of things to describe this game now at this stage nearly, but just the overall thing for me, Cuala have been poor despite missing so many, and Kilmacud have been seriously up for this and very impressive.
Yeah, it's just never really caught fire. This game hasn't lived up to expectation. In fact, if anything, the first game delivered the drama and the excitement and the closeness on the scoreboard. St. Jude's digging out a deserved 2-point win over Vincent's. This has been a much more lopsided affair, although Cuala have made a better fist of things in the second half. That point from David Tracy brings his tally up to 7, and it leaves us with an 8-point game with 6 minutes to go, and a couple of goals, of course, and all of a sudden we would get our grandstand finish. But it's been something we remarked on earlier on, whatever about their ability to pick off points from long range or frees from David Tracy, they really haven't threatened the Kilmacud goal at all.
No, not at all. And probably again a combination of a poor Cuala attack and a strong Kilmacud defence. But on the flip side of things, that the Crokes have been hungry, that Rowan Hayes probably had no right to even think of going for goal for 2 of his goals, and actively went about creating the chance and got great results from it. But also worth noting that Kilmacud have taken the foot off the gas here in the second half, that they probably aren't the same team they were in the first half.
Well, Ronan Hayes pops over his 5th point to go nicely with the 3 goals, and spoiler alert, I have a feeling Owen O'Donnell will be telling us quite shortly that Ronan Hayes is his man of the match. I don't think I'm stealing your thunder there, Owen.
No, I don't. It's hard to argue with that. I don't think his contribution to this game has been more than anyone's, and the goals he scored, I'm sure you'll see them all over social media earlier, that they're the type of things that tend to go viral.
Certainly are. One better than the other. 3 goals for Ronan Hayes. I'm sure he'll be asked afterwards how many hat-tricks he scored in his career, but regardless of the number, you mentioned it earlier on, I don't think he scored better goals, better hat-tricks, because some of the approach work from Hayes, not to mention the finishing, well, they were right out of the top drawer.
Yeah, and as we spoke about in the first half, like, Rowan has just this ability to do things that other players can't do, and it's just a matter of getting the best performance out of him on the day. So once he clicks, and once he's at the tempo of the game, he's a difficult man to stop.
So both management teams using this second half to run their benches. You can see the shadows starting to lengthen here at Parnell Park. Evening is closing in. Kilmacud have done the heavy lifting and the hard work at this stage. It's just now a matter of seeing it out. 4 minutes of normal time to play as they come in search of more scores to gloss that final scoreline. Ball broken down towards Dara Purcell. Just wouldn't stick for him. Dug out instead by Oisín O'Rourke. That's Jack Lahert, and he's off target with his attempt. In fact, James Dillon it was who took the shot on target there, but away and across the face of goal.
Yeah, and to be fair to James, he doesn't have a lot of support up there. That Kilmacud are leaving him kind of at the top of the D and have pulled everyone a long way back. I see Ron Hayes is going in here now. He might carry a bit more firepower, but even the Kilmacud attack have slowed down this. This descent. I don't know how much descent there was there, but it turned it from a difficult free to a very easy free to score. And again, the 13, to use your own phrase, 13 metres plus VAT maybe was added taking that ball forward.
Yeah, you certainly you'd love to get out there and measure the distance no more than in our first game. Referees very intent on delivering the message to the offender, and the ball has moved forward a healthy 13 metres, shall we say, much closer to the goal for Ronan Hayes. And this will probably take any doubt away from whether or not he'll hit the target. Ronan Hayes fires it over. 3 goals and 6 points now for the big Kilmacud full forward as another substitute arrives in. This will eat into the clock a little. It will also give somebody else a chance to make an impression, and it will allow Kilmacud to wrap Dara Butler in some cotton wool. Across here comes the substitute Rory Smith. He hasn't wasted any time in getting to know Sean Moran, Owen.
No, and that's probably a mentality thing, that when Kilmacud are this far ahead and for a sub to come on and lay into Sean, whereas we've had Cuala subs coming on trying to make an impact and have been a lot more passive. So for that, for me, would be a good sign.
Ball breaks kindly for Cuala. Colm O'Farrell sprays it across. Nobody able to make it stick cleanly, at least. There's a bit of a scramble for possession over there. Who else but Bill O'Carroll is in the middle of it. And for all the talk that there rightly will be about Ronan Hayes, Alex Considine and maybe Caelan Conway to a lesser degree up front in terms of putting scores on the board, Owen, you look at the Kilmacud defence and Bill O'Carroll's name jumps out. Right from the start, he was up for it, he was on it, and he hurled everything and anything that came his way.
Absolutely, he set the tone from there, and that's the kind of character he is. He'd be a very big influence, I'd say, in the dressing room, and he'd be very social with the lads. So once he's on form, I think that the team will click. But to be honest, obviously Cuala very disappointing today and missing few, but I don't think anyone's going to be writing them off, that they'll get back to the drawing board, they'll go over what happened, to use that what's coming a very overused word in GA. They'll take the learnings from it, but they'll be a different team come the end of the championship.
Well, it's taken 29 minutes of the second half, almost the full half an hour, and there we hear it. Learnings. Owen gets it in.
Yeah,
crowbarred into the conversation before we hit additional time.
It's become one of them media robot words now at this stage that every team have. I'm sure if you interviewed Ronan Hayes after his spectacular game today, it'll be all about the team performance and the team effort. And sure, he got lucky with the goals. It's the way it's gone. Sounding
more and more like a Kerry man every day.
Yeah.
Well, here is Ronan Hayes, and mention of him, I see one of the comments we've got in on social media under the hashtag #GoAheadDSHA. Imagine how different the Leinster Hurling final would have been if Ronan Hayes had been able to play. I hate to mention the war, Owen, but it is a very, very good question.
Yeah, no, it's worth posing, and it was in conversation all over Dublin at the time, and Dublin Hurling, we're at the stage where we're making a lot of progress, but we are at the stage where we need key men there on match day, and just unfortunately we got dealt a bad hand, and we have no doubt that if we had a full complement that day, we would have given a much better show of ourselves, and it might have been a different year. But watching the likes of Ronan Hayes and Dara Purcell out here, and these lads will give you serious hope going and looking into the new year.
He's up to 3-7 now, Ronan Hayes. We're a minute into stoppage time. He's not finished. Kilmacud are not finished. Hayes drills over another one, and they really are driving the message home. They are not letting Cuala off the hook by any manner of means. The lead now is back out to 12 points again. It is an emphatic margin. It is going to be an emphatic victory. And Kilmacud Crokes announcing their arrival in the 2021 championship here in some style.
Yeah, absolutely they have, and for Kilmacud it'll just be a matter of producing this performance and keeping this performance as a baseline rather than a big hype to get up for Cuala and then being flat the next day against Lucan or Sir Bridget's, apologies. Yeah, so it's just this is the standard that the Crokes have to operate at now.
Well, we are now deep into additional time. We expected to have a few minutes of it, all right. We did have quite a few stoppages during the course of the second half. From a Kilmacud point of view, it's just a matter of playing down the clock, seeing how much they'll win by. Cuala playing for pride, and as we know, the county champions play to very high standards. They will drive on to the bitter end. Kilmacud, though, relentless. Naomh O'Riordan back to McMullen, and he deserved that. He's worked really, really hard, Lorcan McMullen.
He has, absolutely. He's been a constant pain in Cuala side around the middle there, getting in tackles and trying to turn over ball. But just the confidence Kilmacud have there, that Eddie Gibbons, again, I spoke about him in the first half, but he, for the 20s this year, was such a big presence. Some of his saves, his puck outs, everything was a top-class showing for himself. So Kilmacud are very lucky to have a player of his calibre. And speaking of calibre, like, it's ridiculous
from Ronan Hayes.
Yeah.
He will sleep tonight, there's no doubt about that. He's hit 3 goals and 8 points from a variety of distances and angles, and he's still going strong.
Yeah, and the challenge for... Oh, here we go again.
That couldn't have been delivered better to him if it had come from a Kilmacud man. Hayes just has the simplest of tasks to pluck it out of the air. O'Riordan unable to finish, but ball just drawn to him like a magnet at times.
Yeah, and the challenge for Ronan now is to try replicate this, that, you know, everyone knows his ability and challenge, and he's going to come up against really tough, good full backs. And like we said, if Cian O'Callaghan was here, it might have been a tougher challenge for him, but he's going to have to try repeat this performance again.
Well, the odds have been upset in both games here at Parnell Park this evening. The form book has been turned upside down. St. Jude's beating St. Vincent's in the curtain raiser, and Kilmacud really doing a number on Cuala in this second game. And it will be absolutely fascinating to see now how this all plays out over the course of the weeks ahead in the go-ahead Dublin Senior Hurling Championship. Can Kilmacud build on this win and go all the way, win a first county title since 2014, or will we see Cuala circle the wagons, get their big name players back, or at least some of them, and drive on and drive all the way to a 3 in a row? We'll find out as the weeks unfold, but there's no doubt about it, this has been a reality check for the champions in so many ways, Owen.
Yeah, and you just never know with sport these days. It could be a light of fire under Cuala that I'm not questioning their hunger, but it just might, it sometimes can be hard to go again and again, and this might just be something to put a chip on their shoulder. But I wouldn't be ruling Cuala out. That was an extremely impressive Kilmacud performance, a diminished Cuala side that also were poor on the day.
Well, it's fitting in so many ways that Ronan Hayes has the final say. 3 goals and 9 points for the man of the match, the Kilmacud Crokes talisman. We're going to take a quick look on at the highlights from the last quarter. Cuala did hit a couple of scores here and there just to keep the scoreboard moving, but and that is something, I suppose, when they do review the game, that they will look back on, that they did keep playing, keep hurling right to the very bitter end.
Yeah, like the shining lights for Cuala, Liam Murphy in corner forward. Not to keep mentioning the under-20 campaign, but it just seems that there's a really good crop of players there, and they're continuing their run of form. That he probably was the one standout player, that he was trying to make things happen. He was getting on ball. Apart from that, Cuala will have to have a look at themselves and see where they're going. That they'll obviously have a different plan the next day with different personnel and all the rest. But sure, that's it. Sure, the big talking point today is Ronan Hayes and his extremely professional and clinical performance. That I don't think I've seen a performance in Parnell Park like that for a long time. But Kilmacud, like, it's only the first group stage, that nothing is won yet.
Well, some of those Kilmacud Crokes scores in either half were certainly worth watching again and again. Hayes stepping up to plant a few frees as well, just to keep Kilmacud Crokes out of reach, but 3 goals and 9, and it is an evening that he will remember and Crokes supporters will remember for many weeks and months to come. Lorcan McMullen also getting in on the scoring late on to round off a really industrious display from him. And there is Ronan Hayes with that ridiculous point in the dying moments to really hammer home Crokes' advantage. And an exhibition, a masterclass of finishing really from the Dublin full forward. And I'm sure Dublin hurling supporters will be hoping that he can recapture that sort of form when the inter-county season begins again in 2022. That's it from our double header of action here at Parnell Park this evening. Victories for St Jude's and Kilmacud Crokes. The second game finishing here on a final scoreline of Kilmacud Crokes 324, Cuala the champions 18 points. We hope you enjoyed our coverage this evening. Thank you very much for joining us, and we will talk to you again very soon on the Go Ahead Dublin Senior Hurling Championship coverage here on Dubs TV.